let's talk about this. So the Gallup does this running survey, which they've done for decades, on the biggest problem in the United States. And this is what they say they're getting now. A record low 12% of Americans currently cite some aspect of the economy as the most important problem facing the U.S. Mentions of the economy as the top problem reached 86% in February 2009. That was the highest in recent decades. Now, though, Gallup shows the most important problem facing the U.S. people report is dissatisfaction with the government and poor leadership. That's up to 29%. Will touting the economy get GOP voters out to the polls? Is it enough?
By itself, it's not enough. They have to show that they can get things done in Congress. So, for example, the Kavanaugh nomination that we were just discussing, Republicans want to see the Republican Senate get it done, right? But the economy will be important as people look at what the Democrats are putting out there and realize, hey, this high employment, high wages, high stock market, that could be threatened by these very radical proposals that a lot of Democrats are putting out there. Everything from $10 a barrel on oil tax to repealing the tax cuts that President Trump put in place and have generated all of this economic benefit and boom.
Well,
it'll be a factor, but it won't be as pressing as if the economy were in a bad shape.
Do you think most Americans who are worried about getting their kids to school, getting a paycheck, keeping food on the table, a roof over their head, do you think that they're keyed into some of these conversations that Democrats are having about flat-out socialism? I mean, not sugarcoating it at all. I mean, do you think they're keyed into that?
I think your instinct is correct. They're more worried about their daily lives, taking care of their kids, raising a family, working. But when they have to go make a choice at the polls, if they know about this socialism, our polling shows they reject it. They'll stick with the Republicans. But if they think about Republicans, failing to repeal Obamacare, letting the president down in some areas, then they're going to say, well, it's not being well run in Washington. Maybe we need to change, let the new guys come in and take over. And what we're seeing is these Democrats, they're running on socialist issues, but what they're actually saying is, hey, we're the outsiders, send us there, we'll go and change Washington if you don't like the way it's run. The problem is they take it in exactly the wrong direction.
Well, it's much like the president's message that he would come here and disrupt and drain the swamp, that kind of thing. I want to talk to you quickly about the tariff situation, the back and forth with China. We ramped ours up, they're ramping theirs up. The president has said this in a tweet. He says, China has been taking advantage of the United States on trade for many years. They also know that I am the one that knows how to stop it. There will be great and fast economic retaliation against China if our farmers, ranchers, and/or industrial workers are targeted. There are worries. I mean, we've heard from Republicans who aren't thrilled about this, and also now we're hearing from the International Trade for Retail Industry Leaders Association. They say we're extremely discouraged by the administration's announcement to levy tariffs on millions of products American consumers buy every day. How does this play out, David?
I think it's a very tricky situation. One, the president deserves credit for a great economy, his tax cuts, his deregulatory efforts, but tariffs are a drag on that economy. They are a tax that Americans pay, and I think what he's ultimately doing is saying, okay, well, we've got a good economy, let's leverage that and negotiate to get an even playing field with China. And it's true, they have been taking our intellectual property. They've not been free and open, fair traders. And I think his theory is, let's get to zero tariffs, but I'm going to have to be tough and put some on to get us there. I hope he's right, because if they stay too long, then they could be a drag and undermine all the great economic benefits that his policies have gotten us today.
Well, should be no surprise to anyone, because he's been talking about China for a long time out on the campaign trail and throughout his presidency as well. All right, David McIntosh, great to have you with us. Thank you.
Likewise, Shannon. Thank you.
All right, an ABC analyst taking a lot of heat on Twitter tonight after comments about Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. That story and much more in our real